On the last episode of Dragon Quest, Square Enix did the unthinkable and censored the character designs made by the legendary Akira Toriyama. Little did they know, fans from all over the multiverse banded together and opened a can of worms for the company. They removed religious connotations, they removed monster lips, and to make matters worse, they pissed off the men of culture by covering the milk makers. NANI? Will these changes destroy the sales per capita, or is this not a big of an issue as it may seem? I've always known that in Japan, playing Dragon Quest is like a religious practice, and I think Square Enix might have crossed the line with censoring parts of this game. One thing about selling a product is you don't want to lose your golden goose, or in this situation, piss off your core demographic. As a fan of the franchise and Dragon Ball, I can honestly say that it doesn't make much of a difference for me, because I'm so used to companies censoring Japanese content ever since the 90s. I say all this with a grain of salt because we don't know what other things the developers were forced to change, and sometimes it's hard to tell if these choices come from company policies or outside forces.
Sweet baby Jesus.
I'm annoyed, but it's not gonna stop me from buying the game. What I do essentially care about is whether they altered the game mechanics and overall template of Dragon Quest. I find these types of games to be cozy and charming and something to take the edge off of my 9 to 5. But just to play the devil's advocate for a moment, this is a pixelated game, and having said that, why should we be bothered when these little details are barely visible? I get that censorship has always been an issue in video games and anime, but I think in this situation it's nothing really serious, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of fans aren't really focused on this problem, but rather what's being laid out on the table.
What did you say?
Don't get me wrong though, I do agree with the idea that artistic freedom shouldn't be censored in this manner because it's kind of like spitting on Toriyama's legacy. Honestly, I find that doing it in the gaming industry is kind of pointless because it's not really gonna change anything. I say this because I'm not really sure who they're trying to protect. Children these days are constantly being exposed to lingerie and bikini ads, and yet no one says anything about that. The more they suppress content in gaming, the more fans will realize the product is unoriginal. Anyhow, there's far more pressing issues, like the damn price of the game. I mean seriously, $60 US? What the hell are we paying for, a golden brick?
But wait! There's more!
You've gotta be kidding me. In light of all this controversy, I'm gonna get to the main course and give you my thoughts on the game's trailer. So with that said, let's talk Dragon Quest. To start things off, I just want to commend Square Enix for taking Dragon Quest to a retro-style direction. What I really like is the recreation and modernization of the original title. Instead of remaking the game with the best 3D graphics on the market, they went ahead and referenced the original pixelated world and kept the old vibe alive. Just look at the new graphics. It really is a tribute and a love letter to all the older fans of the franchise. I don't know about you, but it makes my heart melt. Right off the bat, we can already see the vibrance and beautiful details on the terrains and town designs. With that comes camera work similar to games like Octopath Traveler, where some areas are blurred out and structures overlapping us while we're going through them. This makes the view more dynamic, as if we're walking in a diorama. What's also really special is they have depth to their animation. They made some objects have choppy frames while others have smooth ones. We can see this if we compare character movements and magic attacks during battle. This goes back to their idea of mixing the modern with the classic, and it truly makes the Dragon Quest world feel alive.
It's alive!
Here we go. When it comes to the battle system, I can't tell you how happy I am seeing turn-based mechanics coming back in style. Something about this type of game just makes my nostalgia meter go off the charts, and it makes me hopeful about the future of JRPGs. If you didn't know yet, a few new spells and abilities are now included, and I think this will add layers and complexity during battles, especially when we're playing on the hardest mode. The enemy designs and their attacks are extremely nostalgic, and I wouldn't be surprised if they still had the same weaknesses as the original. When it comes down to the story, I hear it's relatively the same, but with additional content. However, we don't really know if these are side quests or part of the main story, so all we can do is speculate for now. One thing I noticed though is there doesn't seem to be a running function for characters. I only see them moving at the same speed when they're traveling, and to me me, this creates the illusion that they're just sliding through areas. The other thing is, when we're initiating attacks, the camera seems to always be in first person. And for some weird reason, I thought it was gonna be something closer to the camera work from the Golden Sun games. Now at this point, I'm just nitpicking, and they're so minor that it really doesn't take away from the quality. You can also blame my lack of keeping up with Square Enix, and there you have it. That's all I got. This game's coming out on November 14th and I can't wait to play it. I would also urge you to do the same because it would show the company that these are the types of titles we want. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider subscribing to the channel for more. See you guys later.